Better late than never.
Yeah, sorry about it. I'll be right back.
I need 3 more seconds, so think of perfect. I see the top to the records, full of demon playing preaching, and my bring the message, just like my granddaddy. All I did was start tweaking the method. I never speak on perfection. I can see my reflection. Alex Murphy, you flesh and blood.
What's going on?
Like Usher crying and chilling, and found myself in my feelings. All cause I tried to pretend that I'm something I'm not. I'm not compelling and back to play at the session of different flavors, glossing over issues and problems like in the countless payment. But when I peel back the layers, see what's inside, I really could admit that sometimes I just want to die. That I default to anger at times when I want to cry. Every time I feel alone and I'm left, I just wonder why. My mama and my daddy never just play their role. My grandparents are losing their peace of mind when they old. I've had to turn
What's power? What's power?
and I get the best assurance from people I barely know.
Who in here with us?
Maybe that's life.
I think I'm gonna pull this camera in. Let me adjust this real quick.
To accept. Maybe that's life. It's not easy to accept. Maybe that's life. It's not easy to accept. Maybe that's life.
What's going on? How y'all doing? How you doing? I see your name is different. Magic K System. Okay. I have to remember that. If you're just now joining us, we are fashionably late, but we're here. The Casa de la Cid. NeRo is doing his routine bathroom intermission. How are you doing tonight? What's going on? What's power? How y'all be? I'm doing really good. I'm doing really good. Just came from a work meeting. You know, getting ready for the holidays. How about yourself? How does it sound? Is it too loud? Sound okay? Thoughts and dreams of like thoughts and things to care for somebody else that they will not even know. I keep it all to myself. I'm trying to rock the boat, but I might drop it just if I'm not crying. Cause I see the way the energy goes when you're not dying. They gaslight you, make you feel crazy, you start lying. I'm never in the closer, keeping my love in the hopes. Cause if anyone try me, they might sniping.
Woke up and chose violence. The kingdom suffers, but I don't. Keep annoying oil on top of penance from my soul. Might have to wait till I run a couple days. Really dealing with the pain. What's the feeling? I'm insane. Tell me
it's a nice topic. When to say no. We don't keep y'all waiting too long tonight either. So as soon as NeRo gets back, we're gonna get right into the discussion. Sound is okay, music is a little loud. Okay, got you.
Said I'm running for my life, but I'm running out of steam. Night terrors, paranoia, ever blessing for my dreams. Can't rely on reality, I need something else to cling.
That sound better?
Do I really love myself if I don't have no self-esteem? Do I really love myself if I don't have no self-esteem?
For those of y'all who have been living under a rock, that song right here, Sega, NeRo just recently shot the music video for this.
until my crib looks spacious. You gotta play the game like sex. You gotta play the game like sex. Got better than I got more haters. Niggas really wanna try my patience, but I gotta play the game like sex.
If y'all haven't listened to his latest project, 28, please go ahead and stream that. It's available on Spotify, wherever you listening to music and podcasts. So YouTube Music as well, Apple Music, it's everywhere. We're going to start here shortly, just waiting for NeRo.
Every now and then, to find a reason to flip, to desperately attempt to keep it under control. Pulling out like a weapon the moment to get distressed, and it's somebody that haven't forgiven me. I'm a soul. Sometimes I be with the spies, sometimes I be riding solo. Long as I pray to God, I know I'm never alone. Also get lots of prayers, spin up a lot of bands, and make it back in the end. I'm planning on dying broke, wondering where's the hope. When niggas you came up with, want you to choke. Go to others and tell them fears to sit you low. Call you what was a big bull, and call you broke. I swear it means I'm a soul, and most of you never know.
Who else up in here with me? Please go ahead and like, comment, share, and subscribe to the video. And once again, for those of our faithful listeners, we do apologize for the quality issues the past couple weeks. At the studio where we normally do the podcast, been having some internet issues lately. Thinking it's probably just the system needs to be replaced. So until we get that squared away completely, we're gonna go ahead and be streaming from Z Crib. I don't know if he's on Amazon Music. Magic K, I don't know if he's on there. That's something I'll check with him when he gets back on cam. Somebody trying to find you on Amazon Music. Are you on there?
I can check real quick. Yeah, I can check real quick. What's up, everybody?
Hoping and praying that something will happen like magic, I guess. Whenever you young and you black, you get tired of being attacked. But simply existing in sin is committed by being too different. When folk get they did, so they want a song or a dance or some sex. A job or a revival put on your neck. Retarded realities we must accept while being commanded and given respect. Our grandfathers dying from working too much. Grandmothers and nursing those turning to dust. We work us through life and then leave us to die. No, that's only slavery. Open your eyes.
I think it's when you actually search it.
There's no fulfillment, you best read the mind. Just for the living to simply exist and working this death happy because corporate be tripping. Pressing for bonus, but still making tripping while you be
checking on that for you.
Watch break, keep it real as you can.
It's weird.
Learn to serve and get you represent fans. Follow God and never idolize man. And anytime you think you fall in the balance, just know it ain't losing to get them. Yeah, anything you really want, you gotta take it. No stop until my crib looks spacious. Gotta play the game like sick. Gotta play the game like sick.
Hopefully it's showing up live on Facebook. Shout out to those of y'all just now tuning in.
There. I did at least 5 minutes.
No stop until my crib looks spacious. You gotta play the game like sex. You gotta play the game like sex. Got better than I got more haters. Niggas really wanna try my patience, but I gotta play the game like sex.
Let me make sure.
Trying to figure out how to shit. There it is. Copy.
He's gonna be sharing it for you, Magic K.
That will at least get you. Yeah, that will at least get you on there to that tape. It's weird. It won't look me up by name, but it'll look up different songs. Like, you'd have to look it up almost off of Google. It's very strange. I don't know why it's like that. There's that.
Because they all play hard, but they sound like supporting actors do. Rapper with their QB vision. I ain't never needed gimmicks. I do what I want, but never take your beat and make it.
Shout out to those of y'all just now joining us. We are temporarily in another location until we get our internet infrastructure taken care of at our main studio that we work at. So
We are sorry for the inconsistency the past couple weeks. We're actively working on getting that taken care of, though. Might even lead to a new location. We're still working the details of that out. And it's the holidays, so stuff just takes a lot longer to get done during this time period. As you can see, title of tonight's discussion is when to say no. Do you know when to say no? Ponder on that for about a minute or two. We're going to talk about it, though. What's going on? Who's in here with us? Let us know where you at. Comment.
Sorry about that. Was doing work stuff.
It be like that sometimes.
It do. It's close to the holidays and everybody's worried about how to put in their PTO. Nah, that goes.
Yes, I do, actually.
Yep.
Very much so. Man, also for the people who normally watch on Facebook, I'm trying to get the streams back up on there. Facebook recently did some changes to how you upload and set up live video on there, and it's being a pain as usual because sometimes they just do stuff. They don't let you know until after the fact.
That's Facebook for you.
So yeah, as of now, I can't. It's not letting me just go live. But I think we're gonna get to the conversation. I don't want to keep y'all too long tonight.
Yeah.
But you know, we think that it's important. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on.
We got one.
Got one already. I ain't even gonna say nothing. Let me shut up. I've had a big problem saying no for a while. It does always make me feel bad if I say no, but I also feel bad saying yes. People used me for years when I had a good paying job.
There it is.
Magic K. And that's one of the reasons why we wanted to talk about this. Because, you know, more so in the description, I alluded to these types of problems, but it's knowing your limitations.
Yeah. Oh, what's up, Harris? Good to see you.
Nice to see you.
Good. We appreciate you being here for any length of time.
Yes, we do.
While you're here, check out the pin question on there and let us know. Is there a time where you've had to say no or where you felt like you had to say no to somebody? And how did it make you feel? We're curious. Only speak truth whenever they say preach. Always back over fiction with a practice diction. It's a level most cannot reach. No, there's a host of critics say I'm so pretentious till they see that I can be beat. 10 years of
Is there
one that you can name off?
Okay.
I know I'm nothing, this gift is from God. Make power moves when he give me the nod. Shout out to real men, a finger in the frauds. Supporting us, prophets and tokens involved. And people in the way, but not they afraid.
What do y'all think?
When I had porous boundaries.
Okay. I like the word.
Elaborate. Okay, this is interesting.
Porous. Yeah, you don't have to elaborate on that. That's an interesting word to tie to your boundaries.
Right.
Okay. I'm glad you said boundaries too, because if you've been paying attention to the episodes, it's been a kind of a method to our madness in terms of what we've been talking about here lately.
Okay. So by porous, she means little to no. I felt bad because I would people please. Okay. Okay. Well, and you know what? There's a lot of people that end up in that same boat. Like, it's very easy to be the nice person. Because when you're the nice person, thank you for the definition. I appreciate that. It's easy to be just thinking that you're doing something for the sake of somebody else and that you're being nice and that you're being helpful. You know, you think you're genuinely doing something good. And there's nothing wrong with thinking that you're doing something genuinely good. It's just the fact that, you know, being aware of when whatever it is you're doing is good for them and for you or is not. Because the truth of the matter is, no matter how good it might be for somebody else, if you feel drained by doing it or you feel depleted or you're feeling like you're compromising yourself as a result of doing it, it's not healthy to do. Now, okay. Now, Paris Love says, now I have no problem saying no to protect myself, my energy, my mental and emotional state of being. As you shouldn't. That's good.
It takes a lot of work to get to that place.
Sometimes it takes a lot of negative experiences too. Like, honestly. I could definitely say that. I guess it's because I feel worse saying yes to people. Magic System says, I guess I feel worse saying yes to people because I knew I'd be losing something. Oof, having boundaries is so hard for me, which I know is bad. But the fact that you acknowledge it as something that's negative is a good first step. Now you have to go from there and construct realistic boundaries for yourself that not only are you holding other people to, but you have to adhere to as well. Because sometimes the hardest thing about boundaries, kind of piggybacking on that, is not so much other people respecting them, but us not holding them up. Some of the reason they don't respect it is because we bend on things when we feel like the person is worth it. Magic System said, I agree, Paris. I'm trying to look out for myself. Yeah, and you should. Absolutely. Because you can't help anybody else if you ain't right. And that's just the truth. We have all been through it. You know what I mean? It's a common occurrence. You can end up in a situation where you feel wrong for saying no, where you feel like you're being disrespectful. And sometimes people will twist it and make you feel bad about it, like it's your fault that they're in the state that they're in, to where they need your help. Or maybe because you're the one who always provides the help or the aid or whatnot, they looking at you like this is an expectation of you. This is something you're required to do. This is just what you're supposed to do because you've always done it. You know, and that's why wise woman, my great grandmother always told my grandmother, don't start anything you're not prepared to continue or to keep up. Because the moment that you do is the moment that you end up encountering problems. You know, you will always encounter problems if you weren't careful about that. Like, that's destructive behavior, you know. Because once you set that as a standard for yourself, now, instead of it being something that's like a, on occasion thing or something that's special for you to do for somebody, it's an expected thing. It's a requirement. And eventually that requirement becomes a mandate. And eventually that mandate means that somebody's going to be pissed off whenever you say no. Or sometimes not even no, whenever you say either maybe or I can't right now. You know, it's kind of like arguing with a child. You know, if you ever, and all y'all in here, whoever in here got children, you could probably confirm this for me. Has there ever been a time where you told your child not necessarily no to something, but just told them not right now? You know, just been like, okay, maybe not right now. Just wait a little bit and I'll get to you. And then they flip out, get mad and start going in, right? That's how a lot of adults will act. That's how a lot of other people will act whenever they feel like it's an expectation for you to do something for them, or for you to be there for them, or for you to give some part of yourself to them. And that's precisely the reason why we said it's learning when to say no. Because it is a learning experience. It's something that you have to develop over time.
Definitely.
If you don't, you're going to get stuck.
I would say that, you know, there is a point of self-worth and self-value that comes into this conversation.
Yes.
As alluded to by both Paris and Magic K System. It's just when you realize, you know, that you're worthy of your time too.
Yes.
You will then start to recognize and put more productivity and more prominence to the things that are important to you. And that's okay.
Absolutely.
You know, we've been, society has conditioned us to believe that, you know, you only live once. And so whatever comes to you, if a door opens, but not every door is for walking through.
Right.
Some doors you leave locked and they stay locked.
Right.
Some doors you walk past. And some doors you do, in fact, have to open yourself. Some you got to break them down.
Kick them down, whatever you got to do.
Whatever you got to do. But it has to be autonomy and self-respect behind that.
Mm-hmm.
If that means you have to tell somebody no because you can't make something happen, then do it. I used to be very big on having that problem. For me, I was just greedy in the sense that I wanted to do everything. And in my mind, I could cram stuff in. I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do that, I want to do that.
Make it work.
Right. And I wasn't even thinking about necessarily obligatory things. I was more so like, okay, there's a party going on tonight. There's this movie I want to go see tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just...
And that's the other side of it, too. Over self-indulgence is another thing that you do have to say no to.
Just stacking stuff.
Right.
Just because. And then you also have to look at your why. Why are you doing these things? Why do you want to try to do these things? Why do you need time dedicated to said things?
Right.
That'll tell you whether it's worth it or not.
Mm-hmm. And that's absolutely true. A lot of times what you have to do is just kind of weigh certain things on the scale just to see if it's worth it to do.
Yeah.
Because in some cases, it's not.
Some things just aren't as important. This is how we prioritize. You know, I used to be really bad when it came to having patience. And one of the things that I had to learn about patience is that everything ain't in my control. As much as I want to think it is, or I want to work something into being in my control,
right? It
ain't. So you know what I had to do?
Your way into it.
I had to divorce my way of thinking as it related to those things. I had to learn to control the controllables, which is why I preach that so much to so many people.
Also, I've been using that on a lot of people.
Bro.
Hey, look, I told one dude that last week, legitimately, when I was at work. And he straight up was like, hold on, let me write that down.
Yeah.
He's like, I like that. Let me write that down.
Like, you will waste so
your
much
gospel, brother.
You will waste so much time and so much energy worrying about things you cannot control. Stop doing that.
Right.
Focus on the things that you can control and prioritize. You can't put 10 things on the list. You got to put 3. But it's okay, though. We're not looking at the quantity of things. We're looking at the quality of the things.
Right.
10 mid-tier goals being completed don't look the same as 3 monumentals.
Yes.
They don't measure up.
Right.
And typically those other things take less time. So why are you prioritizing the things that only take 2 or 3 seconds, but ignoring the things that take more?
Right.
Some people, y'all got it bad the other way.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
too many big goals, not enough little ones.
Shoot, sometimes, like when I talk to him, I'd be like, yo, can it take you 2 minutes or less? If the answer to that question is yes, then just do it.
Right.
Because chances are it doesn't require that much brain power neither.
Right.
Now, for your more monumental tasks, guess what? If you want to be the most successful you can be, take those things one at a time.
Yes.
And some of y'all might be hearing this and asking yourself, like, what does this have to do with saying no? It has everything to do with saying no.
Because you have to deny yourself just as much as you deny others.
Right. And what it might indicate is that you have poor time management and prioritization skills. When you can't say no to things, you definitely have an importance issue. You got a priority issue there.
Yep.
You have a priority issue.
You have no true understanding of what is truly important. The order of operations is always important. It's not just the things you do, it's the order. Like, not to use a math term, but for real, the order of operations means almost as much as the actual operation itself.
Yes. There are systems, there are goals, there are outcomes. If you want a particular outcome, first you set a goal. And then for that goal to come to fruition, you have to create a system that can facilitate that. It's like the body versus the organs versus the mind. The mind is going to project whatever it is you choose to do and think.
Yep.
The body contains everything within it. And what's within it works to keep you going.
Yep.
So think about it like that. It's a moving body. It's an organism too. Treat it like a baby. You know how some people be like, this is my baby. They talk about their little pet projects and stuff. That's how you got to do it.
Yeah.
And yes, you're going to have to put together some boundaries. Because what are boundaries, really? They're limitations. They're limitations.
Yep.
And what are limitations? Systems of no. Systems of no. What you can and can't do.
Yes.
The possibilities, the potential, what we've been talking about for like the past 2 months. We've been breadcrumbing y'all. So it's going to get deeper and deeper as we get into the year. Because guess what? Everybody likes to do New Year's resolutions. And we're about a month away from that time period where everybody decides, or at least most people, what they want to do for the following year. You'd be completely mistaken if you don't think you're going to have to learn when to say no before you take on some new shit. Come on now.
Because you will have to learn.
Come on now.
Look, and that's the truth. Like,
I ain't saying nothing, but I'm saying something.
Right. And the truth of the matter is, it's never easy.
Nope.
For anybody who has any inkling of caring or love in their heart, for anybody, not saying if it is easy, it's bad, but for real, it is a difficult thing by nature because you're being asked not only to deny others, but it's even harder sometimes. Or like everybody has different problems. One person may have the problem with denying others entry into their space to where they sap your energy, they take everything from you, they manipulate you, they have you out here looking stupid, they do what they do and leave you. Or it's on the other side, you're a narcissist and you overindulge yourself in things and behaviors that are not good for you.
And I want to say something to that real quick. Narcissism. I personally, this is a personal opinion of mine, I believe everybody has a piece of narcissist in them.
Yeah.
Because
some measure of it is necessary.
Yes, you have to have some measure. So when we talk about it in the worst case, we're talking about the hyper.
Yeah.
The overindulged, as he put it.
Yes.
Because the crux of the narcissist exists in each and every one of us.
Yes.
But there's some people.
That's literally what the it is.
And there's some people who literally ooze. They project that kind of energy. And why does this matter? Because you have to have enough to care about self,
yes,
but to not put self above everyone else
yes,
and everything else.
Yes.
That doesn't mean that what you want don't matter. It's when you go into the comparison and you go into the, I'm this much better because I do it this way.
Yep.
That's when it becomes a problem. So manage that, because that goes back to the boundaries and limitations.
Right.
Because ultimately what we're talking about is time. It all boils down to time.
Because
why do you need to be able to say no? Because you need to know when your time is to be valuable and utilized.
Yes.
That's in any context. It doesn't matter whether it's money, relationships, none of that. What we're saying no to is literally our time with someone or somebody.
Yes.
Remember that. That's what we're fighting for. The time.
Let's see. Garrett Tolman said, I always look for other ways to say no when I don't want to seem like an ass for saying no. But I still feel that I truly don't want to do it. I won't do it.
Listen, and I'm gonna tell you.
You gonna feel like a dick to say no.
Some of the other ladies have echoed that too. And the truth of the matter is there's plenty of ways to say no without saying no, right?
Yep.
But also, I think a lot of times where our guilt comes from is the fear of being in a situation where someone says no to us.
Or being in a situation where somebody expresses disappointment in you
for that decision.
They make you feel like you're deficient because you didn't go along with whatever it was they wanted. Now you're less of a person because you chose to not help.
And look, and what does that go back to? Expectations.
Yes.
Why? I'm gonna tell you something about me. I think I just told you this about me.
Okay.
We friends, so we talk about everything, but it's always something new. I have this thing about people giving me their word.
Right.
And my general rule of thumb is I don't want people to give me their word.
Right.
Because we're all human and we all make mistakes. Because if you create a high expectation and you don't live up to that expectation, I think that is your problem. And I'm the type of person I'll hold you accountable for that.
Yeah.
The problem is everybody don't like that, and it might feel wrong, it might feel bad, but here's the reality of the situation. If you're unsure of something, don't project like you're sure. You don't have to do that. Take that pressure off yourself.
It's not worth it.
Don't overpromise and underdeliver.
Right. Exactly that.
That's the thing. Don't overpromise and underdeliver.
And that's
what we be doing.
Yes, that's another thing. If you're going to make promises, set goals, set standards for yourself,
keep them realistic.
Thank you. Keep them small. Look, start small and make them realistic. Make it something that is actually attainable for you right now.
You will learn the hard way. And at the end of the day, if you don't disappoint anybody else, you'll probably disappoint yourself.
Because here's my thing. You don't need to be disappointed in yourself for achieving something that you don't think you'll achieve in another 10 years. Don't do that. Unless you keep setting yourself like a 10-year plan, and most people aren't. They just reach for that big goal that they want and then get mad at themselves every one of them 10 years that they don't get it until they get it. No, it's not worth it for that. Also, one thing that I've been echoing to a lot of people this past week is even when you're in the midst of achieving a goal, even when you're in the midst of possibly getting to something, be willing to give yourself props and appreciation for what you have accomplished.
Yeah.
Okay? Give yourself grace where it applies. Give yourself accolades where it applies. Because sometimes that's a big problem that a lot of us have. I know I have that. I be worried about going through a process, doing something, and I'm trying to reach this certain end, and I haven't gotten there yet. And I'm frustrated because I'm not there yet. But I'm not paying attention to the small victories that I've achieved on the way to that. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, that's how you stay motivated.
And sometimes it takes somebody else looking at you being like, hey, bro, you're doing fine. You're doing good work. You nod your head like that, but in the back of your head, you don't believe it.
No, you never do. And that's good.
Yep.
Always remain humble.
Right.
Don't ever think you're better than what you're doing at the moment.
But do not humble yourself to the point of self-deprecation. Humility should never look like self-deprecation.
And shouldn't have you feeling
ever.
sad. Shouldn't have you feeling hurt.
Humility should never make you feel like you are less than what you are.
None of that self-loathing shit. Divorce that. Divorce those thoughts.
And this is the thing that, and I guess we're just dropping quotables today.
Right.
But one thing I can say is, it is, contrary to popular belief, it is possible to love yourself and be humble.
Oh yeah.
It is absolutely possible to love yourself and be humble.
And if you're ever confused about this, about the difference in those things, ask yourself this: am I constantly comparing myself to other people every day? Am I truly happy with the work that I'm putting in right now? Yeah. And if somebody else were to describe you and what you're currently doing as it relates to the things that are important to you to somebody else, would they say things that you may find favorable? Because look, I got this from you. Don't nobody brag or talk about you better than other people.
Exactly. They do a better job at it.
Yeah.
Because other people can appraise you better than you can appraise yourself, because you're always dealing with yourself. You automatically have a bias in one direction or another about yourself. That's how self-deprecating behavior happens. That's how self-indulgence happens.
That's where the crux of the narc.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
All of that.
The crux of the narc. I like that. But seriously,
it could be a title for something,
right? That's seriously why. Because it always starts with you. One thing that I heard in church all the time that I would hear preachers say that whenever they are bringing forth a message, it's like they would say, look, it's like, you might feel some type of way about whatever message I'm bringing, but remember that it goes to me first. I get hit with this message before I bring it to you. And that's true. Anytime that we talk about something like this, anytime that you render advice or do a lot where you're making critiques and things of that nature, it always comes to you first. Whenever you put something out like that, one thing I've come to learn is that you will get tested.
Right.
At some point to
Makes
see
sense.
whether you can handle what you need to handle and practice what you preach.
Right.
And sometimes you succeed, sometimes you fail. But
shout out to those of y'all that are in here.
Absolutely. Get them likes up. But it's one of those things of, regardless of where you're at, regardless of whether you get tested and regardless of whether you succeed or fail, take that as a lesson to move forward. Because maybe you might fail.
I agree.
Does that mean that you don't know what you're talking about? No. It means that you know what you're talking about, but you need to apply it. Kiara Rob 25 said, it made me feel, when you struggled to say no to someone, it said it made you feel like you weren't being true to yourself if you said yes. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like, for every person that felt bad when they say no, think about the times you said yes, that you was just like, I cannot do this. Yeah. Did you not feel bad?
Have you ever had to shake your head? That should be the next question. Have you ever had to really just sit there and shake your head at something you said yes to? You felt that instant regret because you felt like you did something wrong,
or you felt like you weren't going to be able to deliver even initially at that point.
Right. Show of hands of people who didn't say yes to somebody and regretted it immediately after. Just saying, it happens.
Yeah.
It comes with the territory of life. But I like how you said that, because honestly, there's been some times where I felt like it wasn't true to myself to say no. I felt like, to me, I felt wrong for saying no. Or there's been times where I'm saying no to appease somebody else because they don't want me to say yes to somebody. Bruh. And then I have to think about it and be like, well, if I was realistically in this situation with this person and didn't know who they were, would I still say that no?
If they were a stranger.
Yes.
If they were a stranger, would your response to be the same?
Yes.
Or even better yet, like I said, I've had times where I said yes to something and I really felt bad because I was just like,
this is about to be something else.
This is about to be something. And I probably already knew, like, okay, I'm about to have to move hell or high water.
Yep, just because you said this yes.
So sometimes we be, by saying yes to things, we be putting ourselves in the most precarious of situations. Mm-hmm. People talk about being stressed and being under pressure. Ask yourself, ask yourself this year, think of like at least 2 or 3 situations where you were heavily pressured to do something, to meet some certain deadline,
Whoa.
for something to be of some certain quality
Whoa.
that you signed up for.
Yep. Oh, that's just me at work. But
Man,
look, hold up. Kiara Rod 25 said, but I'm a certified a-hole now. So the last 15 years have been bliss.
Woo! Let them know, twin.
And there it is.
Shit.
Look, there's the truth. But you know, for real,
It's still Scorpio season.
yep. There's been some time. Look, in the line of work I'm in, there's been some times I've had to tell people no, and I already know how they're gonna react. Or I've had to take the position of authority and be like, okay, this can't happen no more. You can't do this no more. And they be kind of looking like, dang, man, is it really like that? Yeah.
That's the other form of no that we've alluded to, but we're talking about setting limitations and boundaries.
Yes.
That's a form of saying no too, y'all.
Yes.
Let's remember, because saying no comes in different forms.
Saying no implies a limitation.
Saying no can also be saying not. Not is another form of no, right?
Or maybe or like I said,
Can't.
maybe not right now.
Yeah,
And
later.
The funniest thing is this title almost ended up, before I rented it to him, I almost said we was going to talk about limits and limitations.
Yeah, I put that in the description too.
And it evolved into me being like, no, learning how to say no. Because no is an implied limitation.
Yeah, because some of y'all do have boundaries, but y'all boundaries are loose because y'all not saying no.
Your boundary isn't bound to a no.
Yeah, it's not being enforced.
Your boundary is maybe.
Yeah, definitely maybe.
Yep. Delayed is not denied type stuff. There it is. Yes. And look, while that's something that we should expect to have issues with children, because they have a desire for instant gratification or just gratification of all kinds, there should not be something that has to be evidenced in grown adults where because your response isn't instantaneous, because your yes isn't instantaneous, that guess what they end up doing? They end up doing, as I say, burning the bridge while standing on it. You burning the bridge while you standing on it, all because you mad that you ain't crossed it yet. You mad that bridge hasn't led you to where you need to go yet. Emphasis on yet, and half of it is because you ain't walked your happy butt on the other side. You waiting for somebody to push you the rest of the way.
There we go.
And because nobody's coming up there to put you on a hand truck and roll your little butt over there, you mad, so you burn the bridge. And fall, and guess what happens when you burn a bridge you stand on? When the bridge falls, so do you.
Mm-hmm.
And like that, you lost that opportunity. Speaking of such, how many of y'all then had a situation like that where somebody burned a bridge with you either because you said no or because you said not yet?
There we go. There we go.
Because admittedly, a lot of these ones that are perceived as no's are really just not yet.
Yep. Delayed gratification is real, and a lot of people can't stomach the dynamic of that.
Look, Karen Rob 25 said hi. That sounds like a personal problem. Fall through that bridge. Look, it is. It is. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy when you realize that you have a lot of adults. We live in the microwave generation, the microwave age, which I like to also call the are we there yet generation. That's what society is right now. We're in a are we there yet society. You know, like the little kids that sit in the back seat whenever you drive and be like, are we there yet? No. 5 minutes later, are we there yet? No. Another 10 minutes later, are we there yet? No.
Right.
20 minutes later, are we there yet? No. And it's a 4-hour drive. The kid knows it's a 4-hour drive. It's only been 30 minutes and he already asked 4 times. Like that's what we're in right now. People want instantaneous gratification.
Right.
Even if the gratification really don't do nothing for you, they want it.
They lack patience.
Yes. And that's the biggest thing about it. And that goes back into self-indulgence. We do that to ourselves. You know, has there ever been a time where you felt like you weren't performing to the best of your ability and you got despondent and all hurt and all mad because you felt like you weren't enough?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Ain't nobody walked up and told you weren't
No,
enough.
ain't nobody even said nothing that put you in that space.
Nobody.
You literally created a reality that possibly don't even exist because you're so stuck in your head.
Jobs be on that. There it is.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. The messed up part is I had a situation like that. I had a situation where I felt that way, and my job was sitting there telling me, "Hey, bro, don't even trip. Like, don't even trip. We know things happen. You good." I'm the one sitting there going like, "Oh my God, I'm such an idiot. I messed up. This is so stupid." You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing. You can never expect yourself to just get something. Is it possible to just get something sometimes? Yes, absolutely. But it's not always a guarantee. And you would have to treat it as something that might happen or might not.
If you do get something with little to no effort, show the utmost gratitude in that.
Absolutely.
But for the most part, life is about choices and trade-offs.
Mm-hmm.
And time waits for no man.
Nope.
We can't control We can't control the time that already exists, but we can control what we do within it.
Right. And we can't control other people and the way they act and the way they react. And we can control ourselves.
Yes, sir.
We can control ourselves. And that's the biggest thing, man. It's like you're not going to always be able to fix something or somebody. And sometimes what the issue is that we become so obsessed with fixing everything that you'll reach a point where you just do something to resolve a situation. It ain't even a resolution.
And it's probably mindless.
And it's probably not gonna help it. If anything, it might make it worse because all you did was just react. You like, well, I gotta do something. Okay, I gotta do something. Okay, then what's the something you gonna do? Well, I don't know yet. Okay, then what you doing? Okay, lyrical bars. I wasn't even thinking about that. Hashtag bars on accident.
Listen, there's so many, it'd be so many throwaways.
Right.
But, this is important, right? Because we made the title ultimately what it was because we wanted to stress the flexibility of when to say no.
Right.
We're not just talking about somebody's having, a party the other day or somebody needs you to fix something. This is life we talking about, okay?
Yeah.
Sometimes also what it means to know when to say no is self-control.
Yes.
I'll give y'all an example that happened to me today. Today I was on the internet.
Speak on it, brother.
Okay, I was on Facebook
in
an anime fan group.
Oh, the book of the face.
Oh, man. But not just in any place. No. In an anime group.
Oh, Lord.
And I made a comment that was neither an egregious or disagreement of a type of comment. I just pointed out something. Point of reference. Because I pointed out something, someone decided to take what I was pointing out or trying to explain, which is simply that different people have different opinions because different people have different perspectives. Something that should be obvious.
Right.
Apparently not obvious enough for me to point this out and say it. So I said it. And it made someone mad because I didn't agree with their specific viewpoint.
Yes.
And not only did I not agree with their specific viewpoint, so they were upset, they chose to call me out my name.
Yep.
Call me a goofy, call me a punk, a bunch of ridiculous shit.
And you know what happens? You know what part of an argument you're in when they start just doing personal attacks on you. Because whenever somebody starts personally attacking you, that means they've actually run out of things to say to you about the argument at question.
Now, y'all know me. if you don't, hello, my name is. I'm gonna let you speak your piece. It's the internet.
You're allowed to do so.
But it's a difference between when you're trying to debate your point and you versus you trying to shame or disrespect somebody.
Right.
And that's where I kind of piece out of conversations. A real easy way for me to like not want to talk to you in a conversation is if you don't like what I gotta say so much, especially when I'm not disrespecting you, that your way of responding is either calling me out my name, questioning who I am as a person, as a man, black, whatever the hell happened.
Right.
And then at that point, I have two responses that I can make. I can make the stereotypical but real project Negro response.
Yep.
Or I can take
indeed.
the high road, the more intellectual spot, which is more so what I ram most of the time.
Right.
Or there's a third option. I could not respond at all.
Mm-hmm.
But y'all, I had to respond to some of the foolishness.
Right.
It went back and forth for a little bit. And it got to a point where I was like, you know what? I'm like, bruh. I'm like, if you actually read my comment, you would realize that I never chose a particular side or gave a specific answer.
Right.
I just pointed something out because I noticed that different people had different points. I kind of just read the room.
Hold up, and here's this. Say no to your. Kiara Tolver said, "Say no to yourself, knowing when something isn't worth the response."
You're right. You're right.
There's been some times that I've had to sit in silence, looking dead into somebody else's eyes as they tell me some BS that I know is BS. I just sit there and nod my head, and be like, okay.
I literally had an exchange of about 5 messages before I was like, you know what? I've realized how ignorant this person was, and that they don't have any listening or real good comprehension skills, according to how they talk on the internet. So I wrapped it up to, bro, just so you know, like this whole time you've been arguing with me about basically an anime fight, who won in a fight. And I'm like, I never argued a particular winner. I argued a point. And I really didn't argue it. I just put it in there. And you decided to come at me reckless for putting it in there.
Right. You made it known.
I was like, so you know what? Thank you for not reading properly.
Right.
Because what you would have realized if you listened and paid attention to what I said is, I didn't disagree with what you said, buddy.
But you know how that works, though? That's what happens when you're dealing with somebody who, as I say, they listen to respond.
Sure.
They don't listen to get an understanding. They listen to respond.
No listening to comprehend.
Which means they're not understanding what you're saying, because there's a difference between hearing and then listening and then understanding and comprehending.
Sure.
You can hear but not listen.
Yep.
You can listen but not understand something.
Right.
Or you could think you understand something and not hear or listen to it. Kiara Rod 25 said, yeah, I have to do it for my health, but it's hard to say no to yourself because you know how your mood will be, but saying no to yourself is beneficial. I'm learning. I do more for people than myself. Yes.
That's a good way to kind of rectify and nullify that too.
That's how you
going
start.
Out of your way for others.
Yeah.
It takes you out the equation.
Yeah. Because here's the thing. Whatever you do for them, it's their baby now. It's their thing now. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And in most cases, especially if there isn't any type of, actual transactionary behaviors going on.
It's not really much cost to yourself.
For free.
Yeah, it's not.
It's free to them.
Right.
It's a benefit for them.
It's of no personal cost to them whatsoever.
And you may also benefit as well. That mutualism of that, and that's amazing when you can do that. It's like if you're a giver, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're a giver, you get joy out of giving, and you don't necessarily you might not necessarily look at somebody to give you something back, but of course you would appreciate the sentiment.
Right.
Treat others how you want to be treated.
Absolutely. The thing about it is who gives to the giver. And when you commit yourself to rendering service. Service is rendered when you decide to be a person who renders service. There is always some measure of sacrifice that is built in. It's always an understanding that you have to sacrifice something, whether it be time, energy, or even something monetary. That's how that works. However, with that being said, with that being known and understood, there's also the point that you owe it to yourself to be as real with yourself as you can.
Yeah.
You cannot allow yourself to be in a situation where you allow yourself to be manipulated, you allow yourself to be played, you allow yourself to be bothered because of you being used to the way things have always been. You know, your personal health means more. As I've heard the Kikis say, you should love yourself more than whatever that is, because the thing is, if you don't love yourself, if you don't learn to love yourself, you will be physically, mentally, and emotionally incapable of loving anyone else. It doesn't matter what you do for them. If you can't do for yourself, how are you going to? That's your blueprint for how to deal with someone else, for how to treat someone else, because you base it off of how you treat yourself. And if you treat yourself like crap, guess what? It doesn't matter how many things you give to somebody else. You're either going to accept getting treated like crap, or you're eventually going to be a person who does treat someone like crap.
Because you're sometimes becomes the victimizer.
Yes, because eventually you are going to see it as something that is perfectly normal. Normalized behaviors, normalized negative behaviors are the bane of many of people's existence. There are so many people that are creatures of habit and literally do things not because they feel any type of way, not because they're trying to be malicious or evil or whatever, but because that's how it's always been. And in some cases, what you realize is you can only do to somebody, or rather, someone can only do what you allow them to do to you. So if you consistently allow them to engage in certain behaviors around you, and you still try to find a way to create a safety net for it, you have become an enabler.
Yeah, and you will perpetually be in that cycle.
Yes.
It's like the revolving doors in the department stores. You're just going to keep going round and round and round. Eventually, you're going to get back out.
Yep.
But if you don't nullify that shit, you're going to be going back through those same doors you came back out of.
And while you're stuck in that, you are actively convincing yourself that it's where you need to be.
It's okay.
You are making it make sense.
Yep.
Because if there's something that we as humans are good at, we are good at adapting. By that, I mean, we take a situation that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever, and we make it make sense.
Yep. We find a way to live with it. We be looking for justifications in the wrong damn place.
God, yes. And when you are in dire straits and in the worst state of your life, you will desperately search for anything as a justification.
And I'm gonna tell you something. Find it. And I'm gonna tell you something about that too. Mm-hmm. When you become habitual in doing that, low key, you selfish as hell.
Right.
Because you're not necessarily thinking about other people when you do that. It's all about you. Going back to that self-indulgence.
Yep.
When you're really trying to justify how shit is, you're trying to justify it to a means that in some roundabout way benefits primarily you.
You're
Stop
convincing
doing that.
yourself. Hold up. Garrett Talbert said, self-love. Yes, sir. Was told before, you got to overflow and from your cup to your saucer, and give from your saucer, not your cup. Like you said, don't drain yourselves giving to others when you struggle. Look, Magic System said you both were preaching so much. Look, it's really only because both of us have been in situations like that.
We was literally talking about
giving too much.
We was literally talking about some stuff.
Yeah.
Like prior to.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, right?
I like that analogy though, Kiara.
I
like that.
My uncle used to say, as a point to what Kiara's saying, my uncle always used to say, how you gonna party in a depression?
Yeah.
You broke. What money is you spending?
Right.
You going in debt for who?
You got everything on credit.
For who? Are you really going in debt for them, or are you doing it for you?
Mm-hmm.
In either case, it don't make no G-A-T, damn sense.
Look, and you know what? And in reference to that, you know what they always used to say? Men, and this is just referencing to men. If you ever notice, like dudes that walk around and dress fly and try to look good, look, here's the kicker to that. Is that in most cases, and this is true because I've kind of evidenced it, they not dressing to impress a woman. They're dressing to impress other men or to intimidate other men so that way they can get some girl. That way they can get somebody looking at them. Yes, Garrett Tolbert said, save your uncles to go. But it's the absolute truth.
Facts.
Here's my thing. I always used to say, why are you going to sit there and try to change yourself for a bunch of people that either do not care about you, do not like you, and have no control or say in how your life is about to go?
You know,
they
what
don't
that
pay your bills, huh?
That remind me of the Will Smith quote.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember how it go?
Mm-mm.
I mean, I think it was related to culture, and I'm not 100% sure if he's quoted, but he's been coined as quoting it. You know, we go out of our way to impress people that we don't even know, that don't even like us.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm paraphrasing like a motherfucker for the worst of reasons. Somebody can find it exactly how it is.
But
it's even better than what I just said.
That's absolutely true. Most of the time when we engage in certain behaviors that are uncharacteristic, we do it at the behest of people that not only do not know us, do not like us, but will take what is really you and use it for their own benefits. They will take advantage of you. You're acting a certain way, carrying yourself a certain way, behaving in a certain way, giving all of yourself to somebody who ultimately doesn't care about your well-being and is willing to exploit you for everything that you are worth.
Look, Kanye said, hey, I know people feel one way or another about Kanye. Kanye said, life is all about using people. Just make sure that you don't misuse nobody and you don't let nobody misuse you.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the whole thing about that. And we've gotten to the point where that is what this is. Like, you know what's funny about that? It's funny. And this just is an example of what type of society we live in. Hold on. There was one that I seen where somebody for real said, Garrett Tolbert said, not in this room with people you don't even care about my well-being. Oh God, why am I here? Yes.
That's why everybody can't come to my wedding, and hopefully everybody ain't at my funeral.
You ain't wrong, bro. Look, if your
everybody
name
can't come to the wedding.
Nope.
Everybody ain't that important.
No.
This is a private, intimate affair.
Yes.
It's not a party. Now
Yes.
there are places for that.
Hold up. This quote from Twitter says everything that I'm talking about. It said, paying to go see a rapper's baby mama in the club is insane for real. I don't care.
Huh!
Somebody said, y'all be standing outside in the cold for 30 minutes just to pay to see somebody shake ass and smoke hookah. Tell me that's normal behavior. And it happens. It happens like that. Look, I remember when, what was his name? I think it was J.D. Younger who came here, right? As soon as this dude walks in, he was like 20 years old. I seen 25, 30, 40-year-olds flocking. I'm talking about 25, 35, 40-year-old men flocking to this man's side just to be seen by this individual who does not know you and almost didn't even get to perform because he almost got arrested outside.
Don't know your name. Wouldn't even shake your hand, possibly. No autograph.
And whether he do or not, he ain't paying your bills. You paid $20, $30 just to get in here.
Look,
probably tried to sneak in.
I'm going to throw out another one of my uncle's quotes. He put on his pants the same way I do.
Yep.
But,
yep.
You know, yeah, man, we just want y'all, if there's anything that y'all take away from this stream, is what the title clearly says.
I mean, and it's just facts.
When to say no, but not just when to say no.
Right.
Understanding why you saying no.
Right.
Because when you understand why you saying no, you won't feel as bad about when you say no.
Yes. Yes.
That's a bar.
You have to normalize.
Know your why.
Yes.
Because your why will justify your reason.
Yes. And once you get that, you can slowly start to normalize the behavior of setting that boundary and being like, no.
Yes, no means no. No means no. Y'all remember that song? I do. No.
But and that's the truth though. That's the absolute truth. Is that it's literally one of those things of, look, I can't do that right now. Be aware of what you can and cannot do.
Yeah.
Do not lie to others and lie to yourself and say that you can.
Know your capabilities and your limitations.
Look, and the funniest thing is, maybe in another case you probably could have made it work. The time that you keep doing that, one of these days is gonna come up on you where you can't. And not only will the other person be disappointed in you, you're gonna be disappointed in you because you thought you could make it through.
And if you're dealing with a person like me, I hold that in high regard. Don't give me your word. I would much rather you not give me your word, and come through than give me your word and don't come through.
You know how many times?
Don't over-promise and under-deliver.
Look, you know how many times I tell
Save yourself
people,
that stress, please.
Hold up. You know how many times I tell people in a week, man, and I say this exact phrase. I said, I'm not even going to try to lie to you and say that thus and so is going to happen like this. I can only tell you what might happen. I don't have power over that. I don't have control over that. Yes. No. You're around 25 cents. Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name. Ooh. And they're always glad you came.
Right. Come on.
But look, but for real, the truth, and that is true. People love validation. There's another one. But people love validation, and sometimes people love being validated so much that they're willing to do horrific things to themselves just to receive that validation. If you ever want a perfect example of that, get a child around you that doesn't regularly receive any type of attention, either because they are one of many children or because the parent just doesn't pay attention to them. They will sit there and tell you a whole entire story about their lives, and they don't know anything about you. You know why? They'll want to know about you. You know why? Because you are giving them something that they don't receive. That they don't receive. Because they're not able to receive that yes or receive that validation from somebody else. People truly underestimate how much validation plays a role, and gratification plays such a role in how people act and conduct themselves. And yes, some of us pride ourselves in being helpers, in being people who fix things, being people who are always there for somebody else. And to some degree, that is also selfish because you're making the assumption that somebody's whole entire outlook or whole entire situation or whole entire whatever is going to suddenly change because of the inclusion of you.
Listen,
that's pretentious. That is extremely pretentious.
Hey, I'm about to drop a Kevin Samuels bar on the whole fucking chat live stream.
Here we go.
Kevin Samuels told this woman the other day. She said, "Why are you changing your plans for a man that ain't trying to change your last name?" Stop the dead in the tracks. Didn't know what she was gonna say. I say that to say, don't make no exception of when to say no.
No.
There's always a point in time, a situation you may come across where you know better.
Yep.
Well, you know this ain't looking like it's gonna be it.
Yep.
Don't be afraid to say no.
Nope. It's going
because you have a reason to say no.
And the thing is,
because if you didn't, you'd say yes.
Look, and if you feel any conflict about it, you probably should say no
your
heart isn't in it.
Yeah.
And here's the biggest thing about it. I don't even lie to folks. I tell them, I'm like, when it comes to saying no, when it comes to setting boundaries, when it comes to doing these things, it's going to suck. It's going to hurt.
Yep.
You are going to feel like the worst person on earth because you told somebody no. You're going to feel terrible. You know why? Because anytime you do anything that is worth it, it is in some way painful.
Yep.
When you work out, You're tearing muscles so that they can rebuild themselves. That causes pain. That causes suffering. But it builds you. It makes you stronger. You know what I'm saying? Whenever you got, look, I hate this part. Whenever your girl walk up to you and see pimples on your face and she decides to go all Edward Scissorhands on you and try to pop them all out aggressively, it hurts like hell.
Bruh.
But your face clean.
Hey,
I take that as
outcomes.
a justification.
It's the
But
outcomes.
your face clean.
Sorry for clapping into the mic. It's the outcomes.
It's like, your face clean? Are you in pain? Yes. Do you hate it? Yes. Do you wish it never happened? Yes.
Yeah.
There have been some times in my life where I'm like, just leave it there. If it don't want to leave, look, it belongs there now. That's where its home is. It's done.
We don't even have to focus on the obvious anymore.
Right.
We know it's easier said than done.
Yeah.
But damn it, it's better when you do it.
And damn it feels good when you finally get
Yes, yeah.
benefits.
Yes.
Look, here's one thing that I had to realize. When I had to say my final no to certain folks and get rid of them and get them out of my space, you know what the first thing was that I realized? How much free time I actually had. How much time, how often I was able to come home on time. How often I was able to come home before it was dark. How often I was able to come home before 12 o'clock and not be tired all the time and not be frustrated all the time and not be angry all the time because I was worrying about somebody else. It's amazing when you realize the power of no.
Yeah.
It really is. Look, man. Look, there's an old church song that says, the devil meant it for bad, but God meant it for my good. Sometimes a no is a yes in a different form. What is it? Man's rejection is God's protection, right? Sometimes the reason you get told no at a moment where you think you want something, and this is another version of no, and this is not so much when to say no. We might do another one that says when to accept no, because sometimes you're getting a no because either you're not ready for whatever it is you want a yes to, or because there's something out there that's better. You know what I'm saying?
Rejection.
Yes.
Rejection.
Yes. Sometimes rejection is good.
I think it's rejection.
Sometimes rejection will cause you to miss some bullets. Sometimes, look, I've looked back at certain people, even certain women that have rejected me in the past, and I look at their life now, and I'm like, ooh, well, sorry to be you, you know. And that's not in all cases, but there have been some cases where I just sat down and kind of looked like,
as me and him would say,
look,
I guess y'all not having fun.
Right?
So I told everybody to have fun, and they didn't listen.
Look, you didn't want to enjoy yourself.
You didn't listen.
It's okay.
While I was working, you was supposed to be having fun.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm having fun, and you ain't working. What's wrong? Trouble in paradise.
Look,
winter is coming.
Right. And look, if that ain't the absolute gospel truth, look, one of the best things, I will always say one of the best things that ever happened to me is the one time that I applied to Walmart, they never called me back.
Man, you know
that
what mine
was a bullet dodge, boy.
You know what mine was?
What?
McDonald's. Bruh, one of the first jobs I tried to get was McDonald's. I have never worked at McDonald's to this day.
Ooh.
They never would take me.
That's God, bro.
And I make more money than McDonald's workers make.
Look, that's God,
and
bro.
they managers.
I'm gonna tell you right now. Look, and that's how I should have known that was a God thing, because who the hell doesn't get hired at Walmart? You know what I'm saying?
And
like,
who don't get hired at McDonald's?
Exactly.
They,
it's like, look,
McDonald's,
that was a sign of like
McDonald's
look.
hires rats and possums.
Right. Look. That's the
literally.
That's the hand of fate being like, nah, bro. This ain't for you. The streets ain't for you. You go over here.
We ain't
it's
famous
gonna
yet,
take
so I
you
can
a
say shit like
look,
that.
Look, it's gonna take you a little longer, but guess what? When you get to your goal, you're gonna love it. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing. That's the thing. Sometimes certain stuff ain't for you.
And that's okay.
Okay.
That is so
you
okay.
can look. I always reference this stuff because I hear it all the time because I grew up in church. Okay, don't get mad at me. I had an evangelist sit there and said, you know what? Some of y'all be sitting there looking at what the pastor got or what whoever got or what Sister Shirley got down the street and don't know what Sister Shirley went through to get what she got down. got to get that car. Like maybe she wanted, you see her driving around in 300. Oh, you like, man, I want that. I want me a Lincoln. I want me a 300. Knowing full well you ain't got $30,000, $40,000 to put down on one. You ain't about to pay the payments on it. You ain't got no insurance. You ain't got no credit. So how exactly do you plan on achieving that goal? How exactly do you plan on making that no a yes? Or making it make sense that that no should be a yes? Sometimes that yes ain't a yes because you don't need it. Maybe you just need to get your little Honda. And you know what that Hyundai gonna do? It's gonna get you from point A to point B. It's gonna get you to the job that you need to work, so that way you can pay off that Hyundai. It's gonna get you back home, so that way you can sleep, so that way you can go to the job that you need to work to pay off that Hyundai. It's gonna help you do whatever you need to do. It's gonna be fuel economy safe because some of them big cars suck up gas like a funnel. It's gonna help you. And guess what? After some time, you're going to appreciate that little thing. Okay? You're going to appreciate that thing.
Paris Love says, be gentle with yourself.
Look, it said, yes. Look, you're going to appreciate that little thing. Look, and here's my thing. I used to make a joke back when I used to have like what was it? I had a Ford Focus. That was my second car. I said, I whipped the thing like it's a Mercedes. Because you better treat it like it is. Because guess what? It's your Mercedes. I had a dude who came to a visit with his son, and he was riding a bike. It was an older bike. It was kind of rickety. It looked a little rough. Look, and you know what he gonna say when his son came up? It's like, man, what's that? It's like, this is my Mercedes. This is my Mercedes.
Couldn't tell him nothing.
Right. Look, Mercedes is in the shop right now. But look, that's it. Look, and look, if you call it that, guess what? That is that. Because sometimes the difference in what we wear, what we drive, what we do, is all made of the same material. It's all made of rayon, freaking cotton, polyester, and a little bit of polyester. What's up, Paris? Oh, you're all good. You're all good. It's still pants. Bro. You know what I'm saying? Whether it come from Old Navy, Levi, or Walmart. It's all the same stuff.
Life is what you make it.
Yes. You better.
Hey, Google.
It'll be partly cloudy with a high
his Google talking stuff now.
Thank you, Google.
Sure you lock the doors and good night.
Thank you. Anyway, Google telling me to be safe.
Right. You take your butt to bed. But in all realism, whatever you have, whatever you own is yours. So as a result of it being yours, you better own it like it's the best freaking thing in the world.
And that is not limited to
your time.
Exactly. I'm glad you said that, bro.
Yep.
Because I literally was going to say that.
Yep.
It's not limited to your time.
Look,
if anything, it is your time. Mm-hmm. Your time is everything. Mm-hmm. Because your time is also finite. Your time is finite, and your time is also your energy.
Yes.
Rule yourself. Control yourself. Your
energy ain't no different from somebody who live in a penthouse.
Always tell him. I try to tell people more often. Mm-hmm. What you see out your eyes through your irises, your iris, is your reality. Everything else that you see around you is just living in it.
Oh, we got our first troll. Nice.
What is that?
It says KKK, Ku Klux Klan, something. And it says Nazi 666.
You should be able to kick that.
Oh, I got it.
Got you. But yeah,
wow.
Rule yourself.
Does that mean we're starting to get famous? We got a troll.
Rule yourself.
Bro. Okay, here it is. Yeah, KKK, Ku Klux Klan, kill all black people.
Just go ahead.
We're going to go ahead and just
take
care of you.
This is your world. Everything that you see is just living in it. And all you can do is control you. That's it. Control you and how you interact with the world. How you spend your time. That is all.
We're going to call it harassment.
That's all.
Actually?
Spam.
No. Hate speech or graphic violence.
That works.
Yep.
But that's all you got to do.
Bye-bye.
Take ownership. Take accountability. Excuse me. Seize the day.
Yes, indeed.
And most importantly, Learn when to say no.
Yes. Because learning to say no is just as important as learning when to say yes. Learning to say no is just as important as loving yourself because it matters. It matters so much. Hey, y'all. We famous now. We got trolls. Like, that's crazy. I already kind of knocked him off. It just ain't gonna show up. But either way. Oh, okay, for the research chat. Nice. But here's my thing. Just like that. Instead of sitting there being mad about us having a troll means we starting to do something. We starting to gain some traction to where somebody wants to feel bad.
Yep.
To
And I mean, we welcome them with open arms.
Oh, absolutely. We absolutely do. Ain't no problems. The funniest thing is that it actually showed up on the top chat, and usually they cut certain things off. That's funny. Anyway, but in all seriousness, sounds like somebody needs to practice a little bit of self-love. They need to remind themselves when they need to sit back and just be them.
That's the internet for you.
Yes, Lord, it is.
And that was a prime example of us saying no.
Yep. Instead of being like, freaking out, going off because somebody said some trigger words that should make us feel mad and should make us feel some type of way. No, instead we shut it down.
Yeah.
Well, there was a lady who used to be a choir director at my church, and yes, walk into my arms where I can hold you tightly. I'm dead. But look. Here's the yeah, around your neck. But
bruh.
Not me missing the cray. Hold on.
You didn't miss nothing important.
Right, you really didn't. He wasn't important. We don't answer the non-factors. But basically, we had a choir director back in the day, and her favorite thing to say when everything would get too hectic, she'd be like, "Hey, shut it down," and just do like this, shut it down. And that's exactly how you have to act towards a lot of things whenever folk get to doing too much, whenever you feel like you're being, because a lot of the words is triggered. One phrase I learned over this week was overstimulated. Okay. Somebody feels overwhelmed and they got to separate themselves from whatever the situation is.
Oh man.
Just say, look, that's your day to be like, not today, Satan, let's go. You know what I'm saying? Like
I've done that. I've had to practice that so many times over in different situations.
There are some moments where no does not, and this is something we're going to talk about, and we'll get out of here. Admittedly, there are some moments where no will not suffice.
Yes.
Where no will not be taken.
We'll definitely
be
separate. Yeah. Because that's a whole nother avenue.
Look, just because we nerds. Let's see. Because I want to say this right. Actually, it wasn't even on that one. It's a line where it says, it was one that Android 16 said to Gohan, but I think it was actually in the game. It was actually in the Budokai game, where it says, there are those who words alone cannot reach. Like, and that's the truth. Now, in that case, that was being in reference to saying, look, you're going to have to just kill this dude. But like, for real, it is a situation where it's like, look, there are those. Oh, no, it is in there. Yes, it is not a sin to fight for the right cause. There are those who words alone will not reach. There are some people.
Bars.
There are some people. RIP to Android 16 because he never came back.
Rest in peace.
But true soldier.
Facts.
There's some folk who ain't gonna accept no. There's some who are not gonna take no for an answer. There's some who are not going to accept and validate your need to protect your energy and value your own time. Those are the ones you have to just leave alone.
Yep. Leave them where they lay.
As my mama used to say, I can show you better than I can tell you. So we're also not trying to tell, while we're also telling you to learn how to say no and learn when to say no, This factors into that too, because we don't want you just standing out on the street corner screaming no at the top of your lungs to some random idiot who ain't getting the hint. You can show them better than you can tell them. Your actions speak way louder than words. And if they can't accept the words, go on.
Right.
Go on.
So there's the literal component of when to say no. And then there is the
physical component or emotional.
Yeah. The physical component and or emotional component of saying no, which is divorcing yourself from things that no longer serve you.
I like that. And that's true. That's true. Look, somebody said, Kiera Tolver said, listen, they can get whatever it is. But I'm out because I said what I said. And there it is. There it is. Sometimes you have to treat people like children. You have to be firm and decisive on what you say. You don't yell. You don't scream. You don't get up in their face. You don't try to get with them and match their energy, because you are the person who is in charge of your situation.
Facts.
You have power over your fate. You have power over what you are. This ain't, when it comes to your energy, when it comes to your peace of mind, when it comes to the things that you want out of your life, that is a non-negotiable for anybody who is trying to interfere with that. It ain't a discussion.
Nope.
It shouldn't be no argument, because there is no argument.
And low-key, they a threat.
Exactly. And you know what? Legally, whenever you perceive a threat and you are outside of your home, you know what you are required to do? Retreat. You get up and you leave. Sometimes that means you have to physically get up and leave. Sometimes that means you have to emotionally get up and leave. But if somebody is not accepting reason, if they're not understanding that your time is valuable, if they're not understanding that, you know, they need to value and validate these things, they got to go. And if they ain't going, you go. Take the initiative. You know what I'm saying? You can show somebody better than you can tell somebody. You know, and sometimes you have to almost do that to yourself, or at least to your selfishness. You have to be firm with yourself. You have to set non-negotiable rules for yourself. Because once you do that, once you set that as a standard, the other person and other people involved have no choice but to either accept it or leave.
Yep. Get with it or get lost, as I say.
That's the only two ways you got.
But, you know, in closing, because we don't want to belabor the point.
Right.
We do definitely hope y'all get the message.
Mm-hmm.
We got a little theme going here now. Who knows what we might touch on next?
We have
weekend.
Unintentionally created a theme because we had accountability last week, boundaries the week before that. We tried to do professionalism, but that'll come later.
Yeah.
And I think before that we did red flags.
Yep.
So we're telling you all these things. Yes. Kira 25 says, sometimes though I turn up and all things are going up in flames.
That's gonna be a pod too.
Look, sweetie, we trying to stop you before you get to that point. Okay.
We all be there too. Sometimes things escalate.
Sometimes you do. Look, sometimes you are in a situation where you got to get up with somebody. And
you gotta let them up. No.
Mm-hmm. You don't necessarily want to, but
yeah, sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
But in those moments, still be considerate of yourself and your energy. If it is something that is going to force you to compromise anything that you have, that being your job, that being your livelihood, that being your freedom, that being your ability to do whatever it is you want to do, guess what? That person, look, that too. That means that person, that thing is a non-factor and you need to move on.
Yep.
It is not worth your energy. Because if you don't want to spend the next however long paying for whatever decision you make in a split second, it's time to back up.
Yep. If it would lead to something that you would later on regret, you probably shouldn't even test them waters.
Sometimes the difference between people who are dealing with situations and have quote unquote, as we say, called a case, is a split second decision.
Yep.
Is a yes or no in their mind. Is a moment where they said yes and shouldn't have. You know what I'm saying? I'm very firm about this. because of the fact that, especially me as a man, us as black men in America, we have to say no to ourselves a lot.
Oh, yeah.
We have to say no about a lot of things. Because if we don't, then you have to consider the ramifications that come later.
Yes.
Look, and Kiara Rod 25 said, but what if I want to bring gasoline to the fire and I did think about it? Then you accept the consequences for whatever you said.
Then hopefully you've accepted the consequences and you move accordingly.
Look, I hope you remember how things ended and set it off. Okay? Everybody died. Like, they all got shot. You know what I'm saying? Like, it didn't go well. But they did make a decision. They made the conscious decision to do what it was that they wanted to do, and they went out doing that. And if that's what you accept, so be it. That's fine. And that's the thing. I'm not telling you whether to do something or not to do something. I'm telling you to consider your options, weigh the scales to determine how well or how bad this could go for you and what effect it may have, and then act accordingly. That is what I'm asking. Because if you do that, yeah, except Jada. That's right. I knew one of them survived. And a lot of that is because she took the high road and she learned from that moment. But it's literally, you have to be prepared to deal with whatever decision you make. So you better make it count. You know what I'm saying? You have to make it count. It's of utmost, because your time and your energy is of utmost importance. It is priority one. It is always priority one.
And if for any reason in your life is not, you need to make it that way.
Yep, and you need to
You'll be a happier person because of it too.
Yep, and you need to cut out and cut off anybody else who disagrees with that immediately, because we are all getting entirely too old to be waiting for somebody to get the hint that your time is valuable. If it takes them too long for them to realize that, they need to go.
I agree.
Your peace of mind means more, and therapy costs too damn much. No. I'm somebody who works with therapists. It takes entirely too much time, and it costs too much. You don't want, because most people who go through services don't just go through one, and most of them are at least an hour to 2 hours long. There are only 24 hours in a day. There are only 7 days in a week. You're going to be spending at least 3 days worth of that time getting therapeutic services because your mind ain't right. Take the high road and do some of the work yourself before you have to do that. If you do need that, then by all means go seek it. But if you don't, stop yourself before you do.
And there it is, ladies and gentlemen.
It's just the truth. You know, ain't no other way I could say it.
And there it is. So, you guys, we do have a few closing things that we want to let you guys know about. Like I said, you know, we've been having technical difficulties at our normal studio. Hence why we are at a different location for this live stream. And until we get this internet situation taken care of at the other place, we may be here or we may be moving to another location.
Right.
So definitely stay tuned. We'll keep you up to date as far as that's concerned. For the audio podcast listeners, we got 2 pods that dropped this week.
Yep.
They're probably, not a guarantee, but there probably won't be one next week because it's Thanksgiving and Black Friday. It's going to be busy for everybody, but especially me. Because I'm in retail. So
I'm sorry.
You got out.
I did.
You're one of the lucky ones. But no.
I mean, it's still going to be mad busy on my end.
It's going to be busy.
Everybody wants to do what they want to do on the holidays.
So you got 2 audio podcasts you can listen to.
Thanksgiving.
We got plenty of videos. We will be back for next Sunday, though, so don't get it twisted.
Yes, we will.
All things provided. We will be streaming next Sunday.
Yes.
8 o'clock p.m. That's what we're going to try to stick to. If it's taking a little bit later, that's life.
Yep. But we will be here for you.
We will.
Yeah, absolutely.
But with that being said, sir, can you take us out?
Yeah.
Because you do it better than I do.
Do I really?
I think you do.
I don't know, man. You got that radio announcer voice. I kind of envy that. But anyway, this has been the Black in a Minute podcast brought to you by Twyman Art. Yes, I got out too, Nick. We survived. Kudos to you.
Ooh.
Kudos to you.
No shoe at.
Solidarity. Anyway, your time will come too, my brother.
Thank you.
Soon.
Thank
Very soon.
Thank you.
Anyway, this has been the Black in a Minute podcast, brought to you by Twyman Art and Sid's Couch. We will, as my brother said, will be streaming every Sunday around 8 o'clock p.m. And we will still be dropping consistent podcast episodes either on Thursday or Friday, or honestly, whenever the heck we get them done.
We dropped 2 this week.
Yes, we will.
NeRo dropped 2 of them things this week.
Yes, because we had to get caught up. Look, we had to get caught up with the live streams. We ain't gonna do all that. So that means that a professionalism stream will be coming soon, and that means that a professionalism pod will be coming soon, and there also will be a pod about this particular subject that will come out later this week.
Make sure you guys are subscribed.
Yes.
We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, pretty much wherever you listen to podcasts.
Yep. And so if you get some time and you're driving around on the road and you need to listen to something that might be a little bit invigorating, you can either check out the live streams if you got a long drive, or you can check out the podcast episodes that are usually roughly 30 minutes long if you got a short one. Either way, we appreciate you and we love you. Please feel free to check out our Flow page and buy our merch. We have merch. Buy our stuff. We have merch. Buy our stuff.
And check the links in the description as well where that type of stuff will be at.
The link is now down here. We have merch. Buy our stuff. Please do. It's getting cold. We have hoodies. We're not displaying those hoodies, but we have hoodies.
Yeah, I don't got mine on. Y'all know I normally have it on.
Yeah, I know. He normally representing me. I'm
NeRo got to get it together.
I got Baby Goku.
Still a good shirt. So
I got Baby Goku. But either way, we love you. We appreciate you. I go by NeRo AnGeLo.
And I go by the DarksKing Poet. That's DarksKing with a G on the end.
And we want to wish you a wonderful evening, a wonderful week, and a great next few days.
Oh, bro.
And also, happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, y'all.
Because we ain't going to see you on that day.
No. We will be probably feasting.
Yes, we will be too busy, getting fat.
And whatever other things folks got to do.
Yep. We're going to be engaging in fat kid activities with family and chilling. I'm not stepping on the scale next week. But anyway, peace out.
Power.